I have a friend named Evan Evans. He and his wife are retired now, living near Pensacola. We worked with Evan and his wife for about 12 years in Côte d'Ivoire, West Africa, working at a school there for missionaries' kids. Evan is a great gift giver. At Christmas time, you always hoped that Evan got your name in the name drawing. When we drew names as a staff, as a whole staff, we would draw names. Well, over 12 years, Evan got my name 2 times. And let me tell you about these 2 gifts. One was a painting that he commissioned by a local African artist that depicted my life, Laura and I and our 3 kids, and our lives there on campus. And so in this painting, just try to imagine this. The painting looks like a little African village. And one of the huts is Bethel Dorm, which is was our dormitory that we ran. One of the little sheds had a little radio antenna on it. And a couple of friends and I had started a radio station that just was very small, very low power, and it would reach the whole campus. And so this one little hut had a little antenna by it, and it said radio ICA or something like that. And so various aspects of my life there on campus were in this African village that he had painted for me. The other gift was over our time there, we really enjoyed what we called Arabic tea. And it's where you have a little pot, and generally a little aluminum pot, and you put a Chinese green tea in it and some fresh mint, and you put it on a little charcoal fire. And this is something that the old men do on a daily basis. Every afternoon into the evening, they would have a little charcoal fire on the ground or in a little container, and they would just sit around and they drink tea and they talk for hours, talk about life, talk about politics, talk about family, talk about religion or whatever, and so we picked up on that, and we kind of made that little ceremony our own, and we had it once a week. We would have Arabic tea with our middle school kids, and we would jack them up on sugar and caffeine, and then say good night, have a good rest. But it was such an amazing time to be around a fire, and maybe you've experienced something like this where you're around a fire and people, they start getting philosophical, and let's talk about life, and let's talk about love. Let's talk about how bitter things are and so on. But anyway, this was such a fun thing, and it was something I love to do. Well, Evan has my name for Christmas that year, and so he goes to a guy near our city where they make these aluminum pots. They do cast aluminum. And you can buy them in the market and so on, and sometimes they're just a plain pot, kind of just polished up with sandpaper, kind of rough. Sometimes they have little logos on them. And in Africa, other third world countries, they will take something like Adidas and they'll put it on there, but it'll be Abibas. Or it'll be, instead of Nike, it'll be Mike. And so they do all sorts of stuff like that where they misspell stuff, either on purpose or by accident, I don't know. I open up my box at our staff Christmas party, and here's a teapot with my name molded into the side of this teapot, and my jaw just drops. When the grace of Jesus penetrates the human heart, it rebounds back to God as gratitude. And Christian gratitude is that grace that's reflected back to God in the happiness that we feel toward Jesus. I don't just tell you about the 2 gifts. I talk about what a great gift giver Evan is. And I think it really completes our joy. It completes the experience when we don't just say, wow, I'm so thankful for grace. Aren't you thankful for grace? No, it's the grace of God who is altogether lovely, altogether worthy and wise and powerful and amazing and far beyond our own imaginations. That's who gave us this grace.